Okay, guys. So we're going to make an attempt to kind of review factoring and make sure that we understand what's going on before we get into graphing polynomials. Because in order to graph polynomials, we have to understand factoring. So let's go back to the basics. Factoring is the act of figuring out two terms, or two binomials in our case, that would multiply together to give me the polynomial that you're seeing. Okay? So for this specific example, I want to find two binomials that multiply together, and the product of those two binomials is the polynomial that I'm looking at now, x squared plus 3x plus 2. The same way that if I said 12 has two factors, you could say, okay, well, the factors of 12 are 1 and 12, or 2 and 6, or 3 and 4. Okay? I haven't given you any specific number to divide by, but that's exactly what you're doing. You're basically figuring out what two numbers multiply together to get another number. Here you're figuring out what two binomials multiply together to give me this polynomial. So let's start working. We know that we're going to end up with two binomials in parentheses, so we can go ahead and now with the signs. This is really easy, guys. If you have positive and positive, automatically you can come down to your answer binomials and put plus and plus, because that's what we're going to end up with. We have to multiply together to get a positive. We have to add together to get a positive. So we're going to have a plus and a plus. Okay. We'll talk more about the different signs and what they mean for your end answers and the binomial answers, and we'll get there. Okay. But for right now, if it's positive and positive, automatically we can put plus and plus. So the first thing I need to do is I need to figure out what my first two terms are. I need to figure out what goes here and what goes here. I do that by finding two factors of my first term in my polynomial. So I need two things that will multiply together to x squared. X squared is x times x. Anytime that you've got the leading coefficient of 1 and it's x squared, all you have to do is put x and x at the front of the binomials. That's it. Pretty simple there. So I've got the first terms of my binomials. I'm almost there. The next step would be to take your factors of your last term, 2. I need to figure out what two things multiply together to 2. Well, in our case, the only two things that multiply together to 2 are 2 and 1. If I had more factors of my last term, I would need to figure out which set of factors has a difference of that center term. In this case, it's 3. Either they have a difference of or they add together to. In this case, add together to. We get lucky. 2 and 1 are the only two factors of 2, and they also happen to add together to 3. So I can carry them straight down. It does not matter what order you go in, okay? Does not matter what order you go in. Once we get into polynomials that do not have a leading coefficient of 1, it will matter. But for right now, it does not matter what order we go in. I'm going to always ask, always, that you check your work. Either the box or FOIL method. I don't care which one, but make sure we're checking our work. That's going to be the quickest way for you to decipher whether or not you're wrong. So let's look at checking our work. I'm going to box method because I think it's quick. If I have done my factoring correctly, then these two binomials should multiply together to that original binomial, or that original polynomial that I was given at the beginning. So I have x times x, that's x squared. I have 1 times x, that's x, or 1x if you want to put that coefficient. I have 2 times x, that's 2x. And I have 2 times 1, that's 2. I know that my common terms happen on the diagonals. So I can start working on putting things together. X squared
is thereby itself into one of common terms. I have 2x plus 1x. That's 3x.
2 plus 1. And then
2 is my constant. It has no other common terms to be put with this one. So I've done it right. This
should match
my original. Let's check and see if it does.
and we're good. So I know that
My final answer is this right here.
again, make sure
You check your work. That's going to be a quick way to tell whether or not you're right or wrong.